Happy Sunday, everybody. It is Leah, Ryan, and Loft Manager Richard from the Pioneer Racing Pigeon Club of Ontario. We are back with Pigeon Chat, episode number 9. I can't believe it, already number 9. Talking a little bit about greens, and Ryan, once again, is looking in the wrong camera. Take it away, Ryan.
We're talking about greens today. Welcome, guys. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Ricky. Thanks for coming on again with us.
Thank you.
You're doing fantastic.
Thank
How are you feeling now that you're starting to wean yourself
yeah,
onto here? How are you enjoying
I
it?
was out skiing this afternoon. It was beautiful. We had the sun.
Right? Perfect.
I got into a little bit of nude skiing, which I love doing.
Well, again, Leah, right when we're not sure about it, we're talking about greens today. Ricky, you're done with your nude skiing.
But mind you, I had to have. I always put one of these on when I'm doing nude skiing.
Right, your mask.
My mask.
It'd be amazing if we could get it the right way, but maybe we can put it on backwards, or you can even put them on as earmuffs.
I don't usually when I'm skiing. I don't wear it here.
Okay.
I wear it somewhere else. So,
well, Leah, right when we start how we want to go down that road, Ricky comes right off and he's down, he's going tubing. But today we're talking about the greens and the benefits of greens for your pigeons. We're going to show some little youngsters here that we still have, the ones that we weaned about a week ago.
you mean the ones that were wet behind the wings a week ago, last Thursday?
That's
yeah,
correct.
we are going to show an update on those youngsters and show how they are doing. We're also going to talk about greens, and a question for you guys. Do you guys, the audience, do you feed your pigeons greens? And if you do feed them greens, what kind of greens do you feed them? Ryan, let's talk a little bit about greens, why they are important, and what kinds you feed.
Well, to be honest, feeding greens, it depends on the time of the year, but I think you can literally feed them any types of greens you really want.
I don't think you have any greens here with you to show.
We don't. We made a greens video up that you weren't with us, but we did.
We do have greens here.
Just
I'm going to get some greens.
Just hold on. We got a video right here that we're going to see here in a second of different greens that we use. We use parsley. We use some basil, some lettuce, some bok choy, cabbage you can use, onion tops you can use, sod you can use on the grass. Flip the sod over.
Not in the winter.
Not in the winter. You got to depend on where you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you're in Texas, it ain't snowing right there right now, so you can use that.
So
It all really. If you're in Florida, you can use that.
Okay.
Now, you got to remember, Ricky. Not everyone was skiing today like you were.
Henry says that he uses spinach, kale, and lettuce, which he gives to them once a week. Shall we show the little video of the concoction that you chopped up for them and show some of the things that you feed your birds? Shall I show the video?
Go ahead. Let's start with the video.
Okay, we'll show this video.
All right, guys. Here you look at it. Simple and easy. Look at how much veg you can give to your pigeons. Doesn't cost you a lot of money. 1 leaf of lettuce, chopped it up. 1 bok choy leaf. 1 bok choy leaf. 1 piece of lettuce. Half a carrot. 1 kale leaf. A small handful of dill. Small handful of parsley. Okay? Look at all of it I have here still left over. I have a ton. An absolute ton. Inexpensive. Give your birds greens. Give it to them fresh. Don't make whole pile. A leaf, a leaf, a leaf, a leaf. Keep it simple. Give those birds the greens.
So there is a little assortment of greens that Ryan and Richard give their birds. Ryan and Richard, how often are you giving them those greens?
We're giving it to them once or twice a week, and normally we'll use it as we buy it for ourselves at home. You know, we have salads or put kale in the soup or whatever we're using. We have it, we use it. But I was showing you there that assortment, which is amazing. That was literally one leaf of everything, and I chopped it up so you could see it. You don't have to chop it up. You can give it to them. They'll rip it at it. They'll tear at it. They'll have fun with it. I chopped it up, and I put it into a nice silver bowl, you know, and it would have done 2-3 sections of pigeons, no problem. You can mix it up, give it to them fresh, but that's just one leaf.
You know what I like to do with that too, and I think you probably do it by habit.
I do, and I know what you're going to say.
And you,
Go ahead, fire it in.
you, by habit, you do things. And I like to moisten the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I like to take the coarse salt. Okay.
A little bit of salt.
Which I'm gonna get.
Okay, so a little bit of salt.
1 second.
We know what the coarse salt looks like, but if you don't know what coarse salt is, LMR is going to grab it for you. Again, you can put a little bit of salt on it just when you put it out. I wouldn't put it 20 minutes ahead because salt dries out the moisture.
Yeah,
just before, give her. Normally, if you cut it up or if you wash it off.
So I use this coarse pickling salt.
Pickling salt. There
Just
it is.
a minute. I'm
And
gonna
I
have
just
to.
give it
Yeah.
a little. Yeah, I give that a little sprinkle on there, and you got a little thing on the side there. And I just take it in my hand and I just sprinkle it a little bit.
It's just like you're salting your food.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot.
And it's good for them. They love it.
We love it.
And of course, you should put some salt in with your grit. You know, they should have that.
What is the benefit of salt? I know you say, well, they should have it. Why are we giving the birds the coarse salt? It's good for our audience if you're letting people know why it is you're doing something. So why are you giving them the coarse salt?
It's good because it cleans out their throat, it helps clean out.
I think it's a little bit of a purger. It helps clean out the system. You see some racing pigeon guys when the birds came home from races. I know they would use Epsom salts in the water to flush out the system, to clean out the system, to purge the system. You don't have to go heavy with it. Keep it in the diet a little bit. The birds like it. You have to watch with salt. We've said it before in other shows. If pigeons have never had salt and you put out a fistful of salt, you'll have pigeons that will, what we call, overdose on salt. They'll kill themselves on eating salt.
They go nuts for it. Why?
Well, it's good.
Who
doesn't like a salty potato chip?
Hey, listen, I got an abscess tooth.
Yeah.
I just, something happened. I got an abscess in my mouth. It's all pussy and it's all whatever. The dentist pulls it out. Okay, he says, go home, get some salty water, rinse your mouth out, rinse it out, and spit it out. Do that a few times. It cleans everything, gets everything going. Have you ever been down south? You got a little sore.
Andy Pereira says that he uses sea salt.
Yep.
Which is another option that you could definitely use, is the sea salt. Go ahead.
You know, another good thing. We were down at the Texas Shootout about 7 years ago. Something we saw I thought was real good. Always learning. CL Gage and Patty Gage here, they run the shootout. They had in the middle of their lawns, out in the lawn, far from the loft, 20 feet out, different spots. They have 700-800 pigeons in their one loft race, 1,000 pigeons, whatever. They had different block salt. They had the blue block salt, and the pigeons were going over. You could see whenever they wanted to lick it, they have it there for them all the time, so the pigeons get used to it and they don't overdo themselves. Yeah. So please, if you're going to have the idea today to go out there and give your pigeons, you've never given them salt, give them a handful of salt, you can boom, they go after it and say, I'm going to give them more. So
wait,
you're going to overdo
when
them.
They're going after it like that, they're telling you they're lacking salt.
A little bit of salt.
Right, a little bit of salt. So,
keep it,
100%.
and you know what? You said it right. I know when Richard makes up the grits and the minerals, he'll take the all-in-one pail, and that's got 70 or 65 good ingredients in it, and he'll add some seaweed grit. He adds some regular grit. He had a couple handfuls of salt.
I add sulfur salt.
He adds sulfur salt there as well. He mix that, and he makes a concoction. And whenever he's giving it, the birds, there's that little bit of percentage.
I also add the Vita in there.
Yeah, and I like using this on the feed. I like to oil the feed.
I can show you how I do it.
Well, we don't do it today, but
if you want.
Not today. We'll do it on the next show.
Right.
When you make them for the birds, we'll make a video of that.
I make like a
concoction.
A concoction of nice grits.
Yeah.
Salts. Everything goes in there. And
you know what you really make for them? You make one hell of a nice buffet for them. He likes to give them as much as you can. And if you're not able to let those pigeons out and go fielding, which 90% of us don't do, you got to bring the field to them if you can. And this is what I'm saying. Oh, go ahead, Leah.
John Kuzos says, you guys are great. Good question, Leah. Thanks for doing this, guys. It's invaluable information, especially for new info. He uses Himalayan salt. What do you guys think about that? I actually use Himalayan salt in my own, if I'm like, if I'm going to put salt on any dish that I'm going to eat, I use the Himalayan salt. I find that it's a little less,
Salty?
yeah, which is kind of weird to say, but I prefer the mellowness of the Himalayan salt. But what do you guys think about giving them the Himalayan?
You know, I'd have to say, I use this salt because that's all I know, and I know my birds, they like it.
They like it.
And that's it. It's coarse salt.
It's a coarse, heavy salt.
Yeah.
You know what?
Salt.
It's inexpensive. I don't know how expensive Himalayan salts are. I mean, there's exotic salts, I'm sure, all over the world.
Yeah.
The main thing is just get them a little bit of salt into the diet, just a little bit, not a lot.
Andy Pereira says cowlick, which I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's those blocks, right?
That's those blocks. And you know what's great about those blocks? You can buy a big block, and they're about this big, a nice square block. You can cut them up. You can cut them. You can put them in your section.
The other thing you can get too, folks, if you want, go to the feed store and get the rabbit licks.
Yeah, rabbit licks.
They're about that round. You can see it. They got a little hole in the middle, and you can screw them right onto the wall somewhere. The birds go up, they lick it, they lick it, they lick it. So, but you're going to probably pay for one of those. You might pay, I don't know, 25 cents. Well, you can get a whole thing like that for $2.50, and it'll last you.
And I know those blue blocks are about $10. You can cut them up. You can do whatever you want. You can put them out in the middle of your lawn.
If you put them out in your lawn, you may get a lot of deer coming.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good way to attract deer.
Oh, some guys put them out from their house. They put them out 500
to watch
feet.
the deer. What a nice thing.
The deer come. They lick the salt lick.
There, I've just put up a photo from Frank Eichhorn that he shared with us. That is his weekly greens that he gives his pigeons once a week on Sunday. And he also sent us a little video to watch how they go crazy for it. So I'm just going to put this on the other side so everybody can take a look. You can see them. They're going.
Yeah, they're going after that.
Yeah.
See how they're going after it? There you go.
Yeah, 100%.
So we want to definitely thank Frank Eichhorn for sending in that video. There we go.
Very nice video.
And I'll just put up his assortment there beside you guys of what he is giving them in that concoction. It looks like there's some leafy greens. It looks like there's some carrots there as well. So very good. And I know I'm going to put on the other side, again, you did a time lapse today, Ryan, of how your birds are loving the greens. And I'm going to put just that on the other side of you so we can see you and the video at the same time. There we go.
You see them, the green pile's obviously the
dark spot.
Right. And
oh yeah. I see it.
Everything that was there, none of it was chopped up. It was at the end of its expiry date. You could see there were some brown leaves.
Yeah.
There were the kale was starting to go yellow. The bok choy, there were soft spots in it. The dill. You know what? We just put it out. It's the final time. Put it out. Let them go through it. Let them play through it. I didn't cut anything up. Let them rip at it if they want.
They went through it.
They went through it. They took out what they wanted. Remember, the pigeon's not going to eat it. He knows what he wants. He'll go for it. So you don't have to say, oh, the leaves are a little brown. It's okay.
Now, I've thrown up another photo here, and this is a recommendation from Guido Madruzin, and he says he likes to give his birds the stinging nettle. And I know that we talked a little bit about it in the last show. He had brought it up and said to look it up, and so I did look it up. And you can definitely get the stinging nettle, which is the photo there that I have put on the other screen. You can get it fresh. He gets it fresh right behind, I guess, his barn. It grows fresh. He also dries it out, and gives it to them dry like in a tea. But I looked on Amazon quickly, and I found on Amazon that you can get the organic nettle leaf tea, which you can brew the tea and then have the pigeons drink the tea. The leaves and root provide a wide variety of nutrients, including vitamins A, C, and K, as well as several B vitamins, minerals, calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, and sodium. Fats, linoleic acid, palmitic acid, stearic acid, and oleic acid. And
Wow.
apparently it grows wild in Europe, and it's something that a lot of the Europeans use. And since he started using it, he's seeing the benefits of it.
Well, you hear a lot of the acid, right? The acid. I would bet this really helps in the gut bacteria, a natural way. Again, instead of pumping in any,
this is a natural.
natural.
What Guido's using is natural idea.
And hearing that, remember, you want it to get into the bloodstream, run through the pigeon.
Yeah.
So if you're not giving them anything in the water's clear, you know what? Make a tea. Make a tea. Make a tea. Make a tea. Run it. Because then it gets into the system.
Day I give
You're a cider guy.
apple cider vinegar in the water. That's every single day.
Right.
It goes in. That's it.
It's like a curry. Get it into the system. Don't run it once a week. If you can afford to, you know what? I'm pretty sure. Make the tea. While you're giving your birds it, have a tea yourself. It's not going to hurt you.
Like no, that tea is
human
tea
grade.
that humans like you buy it for yourself. Because of
Very
all
good.
of the health benefits, they're selling it so humans ingest it. But
now let me ask you a question.
You want to know what?
Let me ask you a question. We got all those flowers at the back there in the flower bed. Okay,
yeah.
Just wait.
This is a good point.
What kind of flowers are they again?
You know what? We're going to ask Leah. Leah, remember the one-lot flowers this year?
Oh, I think they're impatiens. Those were impatiens. New Guinea impatiens. That's what they were.
Yeah, and we had, believe it or not, folks, we got out the back here in the patio. Mm-hmm. We had them all planted in pots and whatever, and we had birds get some time to be a little open hole.
The one-lot birds, we let them open range.
I'm telling you,
one day
they were eating the leaves off those impatiens, the green leaves. They're eating them. They're eating them. I had to cover them up.
And it was
I made wire baskets.
This is an amazing story about this. We planted them. They were growing nice. All of a sudden, it was literally one afternoon. We all went out.
Yeah.
We came back. Every plant was literally picked bare, and we went, oh shit, because Mom, she planted them all and spent money.
Yeah.
So we made covers, and we go, I wonder if these are going to grow back.
Wire baskets.
Yeah, wire baskets to put over the top for the birds to stop eating.
They ate them right down to the stem.
But let me say a good story about those flowers. Leah, you remember, how nice were those flowers at the end of September?
Yeah, they grew back and grew back.
Better than before.
But the birds, they just went after them.
Yeah, like those pink and purple leaves, they ate them like they were
candies.
Little kids eating candies. And you know what? Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad.
No, but like what Guido said.
No.
That's a natural.
No. We allowed the pigeon to be a pigeon, a wild pigeon. Right? Who knows more? Do you or me? Or does the pigeon know more? But if you got to give them these opportunities.
Well, and that's when I spoke to Guido about this stinging nettle. He said he found it by accident because it was growing up tall up above his fly cage.
Yeah.
And the birds were devouring it. And of course, he didn't know if it was harmful or good or not. And so he looked it up and sure enough, discovered all these amazing nutritional benefits that the stinging nettle gives to people, and figured, hey, the pigeons know what they're doing. They're obviously loving it. They're needing it. That's why they're devouring it, and it's good for them. So why not?
Well, if I could say one other thing. Let's go back into a little bit of kind of history. But the world has evolved in four quarters of life.
Mm-hmm.
And the pigeon was here 3/4, like we're talking thousands of years before man was here, before we were here.
Oh yeah, before we were
On this
we were babying them.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So, you know,
Right, and it's the truth. You
they're-
see them living downtown. You see them still out in the wild. You see them when you go to Mexico. You know what? Pigeon's going to outdo man in the end. In time, pigeons will still be going. Man won't be. You're going to see it, eh? We can put a poll on that.
Let's stay on focus here.
okay, yeah.
Kathy Eichhorn says you also gave them chunks of grass, which that's right, Kathy. If you remember back when we were doing the Pioneer race, yes, Ryan. Why don't you explain the grass, how you use the grass, how you give them the grass?
And we'll have to show it again this year. But we just take a bit of sod. Just take the sod. We like to flip it over.
You have to flip it over.
You flip it over. You flip it over so the roots, the soil's sticking up, and the pigeons will go through it. We really like doing it. It's real good. I think when you're breaking young birds to your loft, put it out in the aviary there. They get in there. They're picking it. They're getting all the goodness out of that, and I think it helps bond them to the loft.
Out of the upside down.
I think it does something, and you'll see when you let out young birds or youngsters, you let them out. Normally, their very first moves, they'll do maybe a little twizzle, but where do they always go when first time they go out? 90% they go to the grass. Go to the grass and they start picking. They go up to the board. They're always looking.
So those chunks that you get, you're recommending to get them after midnight when your neighbor's gone to bed.
Dominic Zarlinga says put a little water on the cowlick and every bird will come down to lick the salt. There you go.
That's right.
100%.
That cowlick you buy at just like a feed supply store, I'm assuming.
Yeah. A little.
You can get a block like this, or you can get them in little blocks like this.
Yeah.
Right. I like to put the pickling salt in a spot in my loft or outside in the fly pen where they can go in a container and they can have the salt whenever they want it.
And I've seen him. He picks a spot out in the lawn, maybe by a tree. He'll put 2 fistfuls of salt. He makes sure there's always salt there. I've seen him do it. You see the wild birds go to it. You see whatever wants to go to it and have some. You see the pigeons go to it.
Are you watching me all the time?
Well, I do. I observe a lot. Go ahead, Leah.
There we go. Okay, so no questions. Let's, you have the little guys, the little squeakers. We want to talk a little bit about the squeakers.
Yeah, we want to show you folks the squeakers that we weaned, a week ago Thursday. It's going to be 2 weeks coming up.
Let's see. I'm just going to adjust this camera here just a little bit.
The two guys that you remember, 2 guys like, oh no, Ricky weaned them. Show how still
there they are.
wet.
Look at that.
There's
one.
That's the boy or the girl?
That's the hen.
Still completely wet under the wing.
Still wet.
And that's what we mean by still wet.
A bit wet.
Right?
Get the little cocker there.
But there she is. Look at how nice she is. No stunt here, eh?
No
Super
stunt.
strong. Okay.
I give him.
Here's Romeo the boy. Look at him.
Look at him. You've seen him
make
about
sure
a
she
week.
Doesn't fall off the little block there.
No, she's not gonna. She's okay.
I think you've seen him, the pair of them about probably a week ago.
About a week ago, and again, you see almost the same.
A little bit still wet.
Yeah, she's a little wetter than he is, but good body weight. You would never know these youngsters were weaned a week ago. You wouldn't know that.
And so what? Here we go.
That's part of the show.
Okay, that's part of the show. They almost look like they're ready to lay eggs, but they can still be pumped by their parents, probably for another 3 weeks.
And if they were with the parents, that's what you would get.
They would be pumped with the parents for another 3 weeks, but they're on their own. Now, we've introduced another little gaffer that I just weaned.
I'm going to just leave him up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show the new little,
here's
the new little guy.
Little guy here.
Okay.
There you go. Now,
look at the size difference.
How long's he been away from Mummy, that little guy there?
2 days. Yeah, 2 days. It'll be full 2 days.
Full 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Crop's full of feed, and you know what? I'm going to show this up here. That crop, you can see it's packed full of feed. He's starting to eat good on his own now. He's figuring out where the water is.
And the other thing, he's watching, he or she, they're watching the other two little guys that this could still be fed by its parents for another 2 or 3 weeks.
In front of the camera, but that's right. Now,
I'll show them how wet under the wings he is.
well, this I wouldn't even call this wet. This is soaked. This is like this is wet. That's wet.
Now you see the interest, the vitality.
The little baby's living here. We see him living. Okay, now I have people say you're crazy. This is nuts. This is crazy. Take your last round and try a set of babies. See how it works. You don't learn unless you try.
But you do have to still babysit them. You have to make sure you dunk the heads in the water. So now what we'll do is, this young one, he is, or she's getting trained by the other ones to eat. She watches the other ones eat.
And you see when you hold your beak up to her, she's thinking it's mama.
She's thinking it's mama. So now what I'll do with her, like I do with all my young ones, I get the Whiskas cat food. It's probably the cheapest cat food you can get. 30% protein. I take twice a day. I go like this. There. I didn't even have to push it in. Some guys go, oh, I got to put my thumb in there. I got to shove it in there. Believe it or not, twice a day he gets 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. And then I make sure he's drinking. He wants a drink.
Yeah. See, he wants a drink. He's looking for the drink.
Okay, let me get the water.
Take your headset off.
So Richard's going to get the water. While Richard is getting the water, Henry has a question, and he's asking, do you ever give the birds milk thistle? I have heard it is good to clean their liver. If so, how do you do that?
I've never given them milk thistle. Can't say I have. I don't know how. I'd have to look that up. But again, it's probably another good natural thing. And if you've researched it, it's not going to be bad. Again, you'll hear me say again. Take the time. You can give as much as you want. It's leaving stones unturned, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, you can give them greens. You can give them milk thistle. You can give them dandelions. You can give them, like what Guido said, stinging nettle. There's so much you can give.
Now, if anybody has any experience with milk thistle and giving their pigeons milk thistle, okay, please put in the comments below. Wait, I'm going to do a close-up so everybody can see that. There we go.
Okay,
so there we go.
As you noticed on the pad, the young one was looking for water. Now
you can almost guide them right to the water. Look.
Look at that.
Hold on. Now, wait a minute. Mama and Papa didn't do that. He did that himself, eh? He did it himself. And you see, you can give him a little guidance, but he knows where it is.
Well, as you can see before, and that's where I recognized it, when he put his beak on the pad.
He was running his beak on the ground. He's looking for
water. I think it's a hen.
But there you have it. You can wean them young.
Now, look at those guys. Bring them up here.
They're going to want to drink.
When you bring them up, I'm going to ask another question here from Nelson.
Put them up.
Nelson says, yesterday I gave my pigeons powdered greens that he usually takes himself with water. He mixed it in the grain with oil. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So these two, either they want attention or they want to drink the water.
We'll see.
Look at that, guys. I just caught this. The bird just crapped. I caught it off the table. Wait a minute.
Put it in front of the camera.
Where, this camera?
There it is. Look at
that is one healthy turd. It's got a little white cap on it. It's like a marble. You can actually put it in your pocket. I seen the bird had to have a crap. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to score this. That there is a healthy turd. These young ones, again, they'll almost be weaned 2 weeks ago. I guess on Thursday coming up. This is Sunday. So a week and a half ago. That is total, no stress, perfect health. Perfect health. And guys say, oh, why did you wean them at that age? And these things,
hold on,
they're survivors.
the parents right now of these,
Right?
they're on their next round, right? We haven't taken no stress off them for almost 2 weeks now. They're sitting on their eggs.
A week and a half.
Week and a half, 2 weeks. They're
Yeah.
building back up. These guys are doing good. I think the proof is in the pudding.
You know, when I capture this,
And again-
look at that. Look at that.
He wants to eat.
Well, you can see, he's eating.
Look.
Look.
Here, look at that. They're like professionals now. Randy Nerkel has a question, and he is asking, just wondering, I have racehorses, and I was wondering if racing pigeons ever get tied up like muscle bound, and if so, what do you do about it?
I think what you mean by tied up, I think I'm going to move these guys for a minute.
Yeah, I moved the
I think
camera up to your face so we can see,
here,
because
Ryan.
the other
All
camera is a little bit foggy, so we're going to use that camera. There we
Okay,
go.
so just
Right
here,
now,
just
see.
take that over there and keep going. Keep moving with the show.
Like, what do I do
Yeah,
with this
put
one?
that in your mouth and eat it for a bit. Always funny here.
Oh.
Richard used to be a comedian. I used to catch him at Yuck Yucks on Thursday nights.
Now, look
Getting
at that.
back, getting back to the tying up. I think you see that with pigeons when they come back from a race, and you go and you let them out, and you see they don't want to. They're stiff. They don't want to move. I think that's slightly of the same sort of thing of tying up. You want to get the pigeon like a horse. When you're done racing a horse, they walk them after. They walk them, keep them moving, keep them going, so they don't tie up. And I think it's important after racing. I don't think it's bad to open the chute up, let them out, let them go up to the roof, down to the lawn, move. Hey, you know what? Whoop, they go up. They do 2 minutes of flying and they land. I'm not telling you to go out there and put the stick to them and say you're going to work. No. Let them out. Let them be them. You'll see in the one loft, I let them out into the hallway for the day. They go up and down the hallway, moving around. A little bit of exercise is good.
Also, we do give vitamins, minerals, a recoup kind of products upon return of the birds coming home from the race.
Yep.
We use a similar product. I'm sure you've heard of it in horse racing, like a red cell. We have the same kind of product for pigeons that we give them that has tons of iron and vitamins, minerals, nutrients to help them bounce back
No,
after
100%.
the racing.
And again, it's the electrolytes, it's the Dextrotronic from Versalago we use, the Omniform, the Carmine. Put that into the water. The most important is when those pigeons come home, you got to put everything back into them like that, lickety split. If you say, "Oh, I'm going to give them electrolytes later," the next day, no, get it into them right away. They've done the work, they've done the exertion. Put it back into them.
Well, you have to look at them as athletes, right?
Right.
They are athletes on your team, and you have to treat them as such, the same way you would treat an Olympiad athlete. What does an Olympiad athlete do after they've just competed in a tough competition? They need to restore their body back to what it was before they started that competition or race, and that's what we try to do with the pigeons. Dominic says, I just want to get to the comments here. One time I was talking to a gentleman from Master Feeds, and he said processed protein in dry feeds is all the same, whether you're feeding it to birds or dogs. So feeding the squeakers cat food can't hurt them. The reason behind the cat food is because of the protein, and Richard's point in feeding the squeakers the cat food is because it's high in protein, and as we all know, as we're growing, protein is very important to successfully growing healthily, right?
I like Dominic's comment. I look at I check the proteins out in the cat food, and it's like 30%, compared to
A pea.
dog food, dog kibbles
Right.
for small dogs
Right.
is 20%. compared to turkey grower pellets, which has protein,
21%.
which it's 19%. So compared to peas, which is about 12%, and corn is about 10%.
Okay, right.
So
What we're saying is, we're not
I
telling you.
don't know what Master Feed. I think they're putting out maybe around 19-20%.
But what we're saying is, we're not telling you to feed them cat food 100%. Great, you're looking at the youngsters, bang, hit them with 1 or 2
I
pellets.
said I take my pocket out.
We don't have to repeat it.
When
We
I
know,
go
what
out,
we know what you
I
said.
fill my pocket. I go in my nest.
We get
It
it.
gives me a chance. I handle my young
Can I have
ones.
one?
I check their navel. I make sure everything in the back is good. I check everything. Make sure. I give them each about 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon.
3.
Go and check
Randy.
and at the same time, those young ones,
Getting to know you.
they know me.
Which is important. It's important to have your pigeons start to get to know you in your loft, and by handling them every day, and I think what Richard's trying to say, by doing this, he is creating a bond between himself and the pigeon. So they're no longer looking maybe for mommy or daddy, they're now looking for Richard or Ryan as their mother, father, companion, etc. Okay, Randy Nerkel, we're going to move on here. Randy Nerkel says that yes, they do use red cell as well, but he says baking soda is best for tying up. Do you ever give pigeons baking soda?
No, we haven't tried giving them the shakes. No. Good idea. I've never thought of it, but yeah, you could do that as well. That'd be another good way.
Now the baking soda, I'm curious. You just give it to them in the
water.
Powder? Yeah, or you mix it so it's fizzy.
You'd mix it you'd mix it in the water, so it's kind of like they call it shaking. I think it's called you shake a horse. I'm not. Randy knows more about this than I do, but yeah, you could do that as well. I've never tried it. Maybe this year we will try it after a tough race and give it to the birds to see how they bounce back. I found with everything we were given with the Dextrotronics and the
baking soda, what that does, it when you go to an exertion, your muscles, everything is burnt. It's like tight.
Right.
It
just loosens it up.
And what that does,
I think it loosens
up the.
It relaxes the acids. It lets it go.
What do you call it? Electric acid?
Lactic acid.
Lactic acid.
Lactic acid. Again, it's like
very good.
Randy knows about shaking the horses. They know. Don't worry.
Phil says that he hasn't used baking soda, but ACV and probios will surely work even when feeding pellets. Now, I know we have a long list of products that we carry from Versalaga for recovery. Why don't you grab a few of the boxes, and we'll just show what we normally use.
What do you want?
Like the Omniform and the Dextrotronic and the Carmine and the Recoup Light if we have.
I'm off at 5:30.
And again, Richard's going to be getting a job at Yuck Yucks when it opens. If anyone's looking to hire him, he's willing to go.
What do you want?
Could you grab the...
Okay, Chris Withers says
Omniform.
in the UK we call it wing lock. I don't know if that's the same name in the USA. It's normally when the pigeon has been pushed too hard, like at the beginning of the season when they haven't been out all winter and they haven't had time to stretch their muscles.
Carmine, Ricky. Carmine. That's okay. Bring the whole pack over. Yeah, wing lock, that's right. The birds are tight. They've worked. And you'll see, I don't think, if you don't really give the birds anything to build them back, that's good enough.
You want the boost?
No, we don't need the boost. You can grab some glucose. Before we show these products, if you don't give the pigeons anything, I know growing up, Ricky here, he didn't give the birds a lot of things. He wasn't, we were busy doing other things. We like to enjoy the birds flying. And we weren't giving them the electrolytes, things like that to rebuild. And you would see on a Saturday race, a 300-mile race, the birds are on the wing, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. Some of the birds, all different speeds the birds come in. You'll let the birds out on a Sunday, and the birds do literally nothing. They want to loaf around. Again, what we're calling wing lock, you could say. Monday, go up for 5 or 10 minutes. 5 or 10 minutes. Hello? 5 or 10 minutes. Is it okay? Is it working? Leah, could you say hi to Ricky?
Hello?
Can you hear?
Oh, yeah.
He can hear. He's back on planet Earth, guys. Anyways, thanks for interrupting me. Let me get back to what I was saying, please. Monday, they go up for about 10 minutes. They look a little better, but still, they don't have that zing. Tuesday, oh, we got 20 minutes. Wednesday, 25 minutes. Thursday, they're starting to roll for about an hour. Everything's moving right. And I think what you see there is not when the birds finish their exercise from the main race on that Saturday, you don't put the goods back into them. You've asked them to give you their very best, and you burn them.
And
So,
what I think is interesting is from a horse racer trainer's perspective. It's interesting to hear kind of the similarities and the differences because, I mean, let's face it, the horse and the pigeon, yes, they're very different, but they're also very much the same in what it is that we ask of them. Randy says, well, it is actually illegal to use the baking soda on race day. You can only give 3 ounces a day, and they test for soda. Wow.
that's right, because I think can't you shake a horse just before you run it? If you give them the baking soda, you can pick up time. I think that's what it is. The horse goes better. But I know they test for it. And again, I don't know if you gave pigeons baking soda. I don't know how quickly you'd have to give it to them before a race. But I think giving it to them on the return would be good. I don't think that would harm them. Again, some things that we use I found work real good is the Dextrotronic, Versalaga, and these instructions on all the Versalaga boxes, it's normally for 1 liter of water. And this is amazing. But these tiny little drinkers are 1 liters of water. And if you mix it properly, this stuff is expensive. Mix it properly and give it to your pigeons properly. Okay, we use that. We use the Omniform together. I'll mix them together. I'll put the Recoup with it. I make like a Long Island iced tea for them, and the Carmine. I'll mix these things together in that water, and give it to them when they come home. Another thing, we're talking racing pigeons. We don't give them ice cold water. Nice warm water, room temperature water, warm water. Better on the system.
You mix glucose.
Yeah, a little glucose, that's the grape sugar. We'll use that in the water. We try and put everything we took out of them back into them.
And the nice thing about it is this here will do what? 20 birds?
20 birds.
20 birds. Mix that
and give it
fresh, and let them drink it out.
Yeah, let them drink it out. You can have 2 or 3 of these ready to go. Give them one, that's done. Bang, put in the next one. Keep it fresh, give it to them. And you're away to the races. You've taken it out, you've put it back in.
There you go. Now, I think also on last week's show, we did talk about vaccinating and when to vaccinate your youngsters.
I just want...
Go ahead.
I just want to say something. When I wean these youngsters at this age, okay, we know about how I do the cat food. 30% protein, chunks of cheese, small chunks of cheese. I'll take a container like this and I'll put half of it, small candy mix, small seed, and the other half I'll put the, what do they call it, starter feed, which has got peas. It's a little, heavier. I'm going
to put this right.
So I just want people to understand how I do it.
Now that there is your starter mix again. Some small seeds in it there, a lot of peas, not as much corn.
Very little corn.
Very little corn. Parents pumping this, it's easy to pump. Pump, pump, pump. It comes out, they can feed it easy. Now, feed your breeders this. Give them a whole shot of it there in the morning. You'll see them. They'll go up. They'll go down. I'm going to adjust the camera. They go up. They go down. They're pumping their youngsters. Great. You know what? Hey, feeding's done. You want to give your breeders a little more gas in the tank. What do I like? Hold on. For your breeders. Nice plump whole cow's corn. Big, heavy duty. You know what? They eat a few of these. It's giving them heat. It's giving them fuel. It's giving them carbs. It's giving them gasoline.
So what I want to show people is I take the small candy mix. Okay? Don't turn it sideways. Keep it on the angle. And then what I'll do is I take half on that. You see this?
Yeah, you divide it in half.
Right. Then I'll take
the start mix.
This is the Mutine.
Right.
That's Mutine. Right. I take the start.
Guys, you know what he's saying? 50-50, cut it. Yep. Let's bake the cake quicker.
And
here.
the young ones, as they, the candy mix is easy for, like that little gal there that I just weaned, easy for her to eat. But the other ones, they're getting a week older now. And then I take the
start mix, which is over here, which they knocked it over, which I showed them. It's okay.
Yeah.
And
I take the starter and I put it in the other side of this. And believe it or not, all of a sudden, they'll eat the peas, they'll eat the corn, they'll start leaving the small feed. And what should I say? It switches them over as they get a bit bigger, larger.
You can switch them, you can mix it this way, mix it that way, but...
Okay, so I'm going to get to the comments here. Randy Nerkel again, Ricky Cruz, I'm going to get to your question in 1 second. But Randy Nerkel says he doesn't give it to them on race day, but it would be okay if you give a bit in the feed every day, cutting off before the race date. And he said his dad always called the pigeons racehorses of the sky. I think we're now converting Randy Nerkel. We are converting him into perhaps a pigeon flyer, which is very exciting. He normally works with horses, and now he's seems to be very interested in pigeons, which is fantastic. Ricky Cruz is asking, do you give them all the supplements on race day or after training in the week also?
I like to give them stuff I like to give them everything when they come back, and when we get to the last day of the week, I'm not going to be giving them really, after Thursday night, I won't give them any more grits or minerals or anything like that. I leave that alone. You know, sometime Thursday you stop that. I think you leave them because you sort of want to get, as we say, the racehorse of the sky. You want to get them, everything gets out of that system. Pigeons always work better, I feel, when they're empty. Again, I say it all the time, that word again. Let's eat a meal and go to the gym. I'm sluggish and I feel like shit. Don't eat for half a day. Man, you're ready to go to the gym. Your systems, you're out. And a pigeon, and I've talked to many top flyers, guys in the U.S. that I respect a lot, they were into the rooster fighting. And they said the secret to get those roosters to fight at the maximum of their ability was you had to get the rooster to crap or shit on a newspaper, clear liquid. The system had to be that empty. Now, I'm not saying you got to do that with a pigeon.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I know last year from the racing season, from the Pioneer, you'd give them their last feeding before they get shipped in the morning, correct? So like the Friday.
Yeah.
If they're going to race on Saturday, you would give them a very good helping Friday morning, correct?
Well, yeah, and you want to sort of give them, I believe you don't need to give them fats, a lot of fats at that time. You want to give them carbs. Carbs are going to get into the system quicker. The fat building, you got to do that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays or Wednesdays. And Thursdays, you're putting the fat into them. But
talking about peanuts.
Yeah, you're talking about peanuts. You know, I like corn. I like the carbohydrates. And you know, again, I use that word, that big, heavy-duty cow's corn, the big stuff, that's what I like the best. I've tried it. I've soaked it in water. This big, heavy corn, that big piece of cow's corn that most people say is too big. Oh, it's too big. It breaks down faster than your popcorn. Popcorn's a harder corn. Now, farther distance, you're going to use both corns. You want them to eat both corns. One takes longer to break down. that's just, we're not saying that we know it all. That's just what we find works well. I think you build the fats up in that middle of the week, carbs at the end, and Fridays, if I feel the birds are going to be home around 9 or 10 in the morning, I'll feed them at 9 or 10 in the morning on Friday. The birds are going to be home at 11 or 12, I'll feed around 11 or 12. Birds are going to be home at 2 or 3, you can bring it up to 12 or 1 o'clock. So, the system's working.
I have a question for Randy.
Go ahead, Ricky.
What do you want for a racehorse?
What do you want?
Owen says that he gives his Ohola's oats.
Oh no! Watch
I
this.
can't even say that word.
Rolled oats.
Rolled oats.
Oh, maybe that is just a typo. I'm thinking it's a kind of oat.
Another thing, they've got. We fed it, and the pigeons love it. The sweet feed. They feed it to, I think, the racehorses or whatever. It's like the Randy, you'll know what it is.
Molasses.
Well, it's got the molasses in it.
It's oats with molasses.
Yeah, and you give it to those pigeons. Once they get the taste of it, that's it. You can mix it. You can use it as an all-in-one if you want. You give it to them a couple times a week.
Well, you got oats with.
Now, I think
Phil
has a good point here. In which he says, maybe mention that these are a bit more advanced tips for that little bit extra. And absolutely, we are digressing a bit from breeding and weaning, but we did just want to mention, a few nutritional things. Somebody had asked how we get recoup back once we send them on races. But we're going to continue this show right into racing and flying, and we're going to have a lot more time to talk about recovery and what we use, etc. We definitely don't want to scare anybody off by this.
Hey, and remember, your breeders that are breeding, their race for you is what? Producing top quality youngsters. They are racing for you. They're not in the sky. They're putting out top quality birds. You want to give them some of these supplements? Go ahead. You're not going to hurt them. You're not going to. Think outside the box. Don't look at them as all they do is breed the youngsters and that's it. Then they don't have no. Their purpose is to stay at the top level to give you the best young ones to compete.
Owen said that these oats that he's feeding, they don't have the outside, just the oat. So Owen, if you could, please, sometime this week, do a little video or do a little photo. Send us a photo or a video of these oats so we can maybe show them on the next broadcast, and maybe Ryan and Richard have seen them before. Henry wants to know, what's your views on beet juice?
Beet juice, hold on. Ricky, can you do me a favor?
You want me to get up again?
Yeah, take your headphones off. And this is.
I was supposed to be
Henry's
off
on fire today.
I was supposed to be off at 5:30.
Well, I kept you on the payroll this week. Grab me the beets over there. Grab it over there. Come on, Leah. Our team here is getting us moving. Great questions. Great questions. Right there.
Richard is just grabbing a product from Versalaga, which actually contains the beet.
It's called this here. It's Form. It's the Form Mix Plus. You use it towards the end of the week. It's beetroot. Let's see how it looks in here. It crushes up into a powder. It smells amazing. You oil the feed. You put it on. You give it about the last day. It makes the bird's feet go real red. And it's good for I think it's good for the circulation in the blood. They say you only use it towards the end of the week, but there you go again. Beet juice, beetroots, the greens, the tops of the beets, they'll
Troy,
eat it.
From Antbar Loft, he says beet juice is very good for the pigeons as well. Now, Troy, I'm interested, how do you administer the beet juice? But he's saying juice, so are you just giving them the juice? Like you're mixing it in with the water, or you're putting it on the feed, or how are you administering the beet juice, Troy? And Randy says that he thinks maybe Owen means hulled oats.
Hulled oats, that's what he means.
Yeah, it's hulled oats. 100% hulled oats. And if I can go back and say, when I was a kid, we used to go catch the plugs in the barn, And wherever the plugs, some plugs in some barns, they live off of peas. Some live off soybeans. The next plugs on the next farm, they live off of oats. And we'd go up in the barn, catch them, and we would even take our pellet guns.
Yeah.
And they'd be up there on the beam, and we go pop the pellet gun, poof, trying to, and the crops would be half full. You get the crop would be like a cushion. The pellet would hit it, put a little wee hole, and the plugs were full of whole oats.
Whole.
And
with the barb and everything.
With the barb. But if you go and buy whole oats, right, and give it to your birds, they'll look at you like, you think I'm going to eat this stuff, man? This is like, it's got the barb on it and everything. But those plugs, they eat whole oats. And Owen, he's got rolled oats, which is even better.
Right.
No, he said they're what he called them. So Owen is going to send us a video or a photo of these oats so we can show them on our next broadcast.
And I'm telling you,
Ant Barloff says that he uses the beet powder and adds it to the water. So the same
same as what you have.
Same idea as the Versalaga there. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one here, they say you oil the feed. They like it to sit for 2 to 3 hours before you give it. So just a question maybe for Troy, if he's giving it to his birds, maybe Versalaga says put it on that feed 3 hours. Maybe you want to make your water, I'm just thinking here, if I was putting it in the water, I'd be probably making it 3, 4, 5 hours the night before, putting it into the water, getting it right in there, good. But again, great tip there, beet juice. Even the tops of the beets are good. The greens, pigeons love them. Pigeons love, you know what? Grow a garden. Watch what your pigeons do.
You know what I do?
Henry is saying, I've heard that you should feed mostly protein during breeding. What about fats, especially during the winter months here in Canada? Should we be supplementing with fats?
Yeah, you need.
You know what? I don't want to keep my pigeons fat. I don't want to put fat in the wintertime because they're not working. They're sitting around, and the proteins are good when they're feeding young ones.
Right.
I like to keep my pigeons as lean as I can.
Hold on. You're going down 2 roads here. So we're going to stop you before you get everybody all confused.
Okay.
Before breeding, take the fats away. The feathers are done growing. Back the fats off. Lean the birds out. Okay, on a lighter mix.
But I
don't. The pure mix. When the birds are down on eggs, you're going to start putting in the proteins in. When the birds start pumping, protein, and you know what's great? I said, I think it's good. You give them some heavy corn, you know what? It's okay. Give them a handful of peanuts. Give them some safflower. Give them a little bit of fat.
Henry said, in the wintertime, do you think it's good to give birds fats?
No.
And I don't think it is.
Right, and I get that.
I think Henry's concern is because it's cold here in Canada in the wintertime. Today, I don't know, minus 20 or whatever it is outside, very cold. I guess he's thinking like we think for people, you hibernate, you pack on some weight, it adds to the warmth, or it keeps you warm, or it keeps you going, it gives you energy throughout these colder months. But you're saying with the pigeons, that's not something that you guys do.
Here's a funny thing. Give a human fat for a month. You're going to gain 10 pounds. You're going to maybe gain 15 pounds. Hold on. Give a pigeon fat for a month. You know what you got? You have a butterball turkey. And you have to watch. The pigeon don't need that fat. You need to keep them nice and trimmed, healthy, a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat, a little bit of carbs. Give them a nice little array. You don't want them over fat before you breed.
What I do with my birds in the winter, okay, they're separated.
Can you speak up, Richard?
Yeah,
they're separated.
You're getting a little emotional here now.
You got to clean it.
Speak. Let's go.
I never fill my birds up in the winter.
Right.
Okay. I have to take the pail in. I give them maybe a half a crop of feed. That's it. Nobody gets chucked full of feed. because if you start chucking them right full of feed, they start putting bulk on it, bulk on it, bulk on it.
Yeah, and that doesn't matter what you're feeding them either. You're right there 100%. Remember, if a wild pigeon's out in the winter, look at all the birds out in the winter. The winter, what does it do? Pulls the weight off them.
That's right.
It leans them out. Mother Nature. Human beings, if we were out in the winter, we would be getting leaner. We would be saying, when's spring coming? I got to start hunting.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Ricky, great point there.
No, that's common sense. Birds in the wild lean out during the winter, even ones that live in colder climates like here in Canada, because the food is scarce in the winter if they are wild birds. You don't have crops of corn and oats because nothing is growing.
100%. Go take a look out the back. The rabbits right now, they're eating bark off the trees. You start to see where little twigs, they're eating it.
Stuff that they normally wouldn't eat, it's coming down to the end. It's coming down to where we start to need spring here now.
What that does is puts them in form
to breed.
Right.
To breed, to have
a nice round of young.
Reproduce.
So do we want to talk about vaccinating the youngsters?
We can. And remember, when you're taking care of pigeons, you are technically playing Mother Nature. So if you put that fat on them,
you got to take it off.
You're the one that's actually disabling, or you're hurting the system a little bit. Well, and you'll even hear us say, and I'm going to say it, today was a snow day. What does a snow day mean? It snowed, 3 feet of snow outside. No feed. It's okay. You get a day off from feeding today. Making sure that we keep the weight off of them. Again, and I don't recommend doing that more than once in a week. You can have a snow day. I know a gentleman by the name of Chris Pigeon, top flyer from BC. He went down to Texas. He owned the Campbell Strange. He bought Campbell Strange out. Before he bred his pigeons, his rule was...
He had the Texas shootout.
He owned the original Texas shootout. His rule was, I go to Holland for 7 days. I take the food and water away from all my breeders. And I shut the doors. I come back 7 days later, and I'm ready to breed. No food, no water for 7 days. This is what a top flyer...
Now
Chris Pigeon was a top flyer.
That sounds harsh to me.
That sounds harsh, but that's what this man did.
And we're certainly not recommending,
No.
I think if you guys want to find more information on how to successfully do that, perhaps contact Chris Pigeon, or I'm definitely not going to promote to starve
believe
your birds
believe it or not, if you can contact Chris Pigeon, let me know, because
he passed away.
I'm sorry.
What I'm saying right now,
it's okay.
I like to control my feed through the winter.
Bottom line,
don't let them get like fat.
Bottom line is, look up chocolate cake, bake it.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways. We're going to move on. Dominic Zarlinga says too much protein in the feed can cause angel wing in the squeakers. Don't give them too much fats. The hens will have problems laying. Exactly.
That's right.
And
100%.
Phil says they won't overeat if they have food in front of them. Mine get some peanuts to start their day and then a tray of pellets.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do believe if you trough feed pigeons, we've seen it in Europe, trough feeding is great. Once the pigeons get used to trough feeding, that means all-you-can-eat buffet. They don't overeat. Take yourself, for example. Go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Go to an all-inclusive buffet. You get there day 1, you eat a lot. Day 2, by day 3, you know what you say? I don't care about it anymore. I've eaten enough, and you stop eating.
That's right.
You slow down. Common sense. Good point, Phil. We're on fire tonight, Leah.
Ian says, Ryan, I did it onions and water for a week years ago.
Hold on. Oh. Different cake baking. It's not cruel. Different cakes. Yes, onions and water. And Ian can type in on how he did that. That was an interesting way. I talked to Ian about it.
Guido says I would tell that to somebody to make them fail as well. And, we certainly aren't telling anybody anything to make anybody fail. Ryan was just using as an example as somebody that he has spoken to. If that was that man's end game was to make Ryan fail, that says more about the man than it does.
Hold on. Hold on. Getting back to we're using Chris Pigeon. The man did great things in pigeon flying. He was a fantastic pigeon flyer. His boys were in the sport. I don't believe he was trying to steer people wrong. I don't. And you just heard, again, Ian Sybil was a top flyer. Is a top flyer. Onions and water. He did it for a week. Many ways to bake a cake, guys. We're giving you. I'm opening up the doors of what I have heard from people, people that I respect.
Wait a minute, Chris Peeman gives
I
that
think
to you
I think that
as an example.
the moral
As
of
an
the story
example.
is there's lots of advice, tips, tricks that everybody is going to give you when you're starting out or when you're in it, when you're at the club, whatever. You really have to absorb everything, do your research, just like we do in our auction site, and make your informed decisions on how you want to take care of your pigeons, how you want to bake your cake.
I think what Chris Peeman was saying, which he said, most of us are overfeeding.
Keep them too fat. His exact words were,
right, okay.
90% of the pigeon men keep the pigeons way too fat.
Right.
That was it.
In the winter months.
Right. And he said himself, yes, even I do. And then he said,
so what I like to do is I said, it's kind of not cruel, but when I feed my birds, I said in the winter,
right,
they're not feeding young ones.
I
got raised cocks and raised hens now.
Right. You back it off.
I back it
you
off.
Back the feed off.
Okay, so we don't have to go back. We don't have to go back into it.
We don't have to go over it again.
We don't have to repeat the story.
We're going to move on. We're moving on.
I handle my birds.
Oh my God.
This is apparently turning into an argument this evening, and I don't know why.
You don't have to keep going on.
We're either going to move on to the vaccinating, or we're going to close the show because I'm getting a headache.
What I even do is I take lemons, I cut them up.
Can you just?
I squeeze them into a container.
All right.
A pot. Squeeze them in. I throw them in. I throw a handful of salt in there. Then I'll take garlic.
Can
garlic?
Okay.
We're
moving on.
And I put that in
Can we move on?
Let's move on. Talk about vaccinating, and then we're going to wrap up.
No, we're going to leave vaccinating for the next day.
No, we can do it now.
No, we're not doing it now.
Okay.
We're done for today. You know why? We're going to end on a good note. You having fun yet? I know I am.
Okay. Let's. You want to show the bands? How many bands have we sold? Let's move on to the bands, and then we're going to end the show.
Band race going good. I think we've got well over now 500 sold. I'm really loving the support from Canada all around. Doing excellent. Calgary, bands are selling out there. Thunder Bay, the bands are selling out there. Local guys in this province of Ontario, wake up. Wake up. $15 a ring. You're getting 4 races for $15 a ring. You know what? I like to run this race in Calgary. I like to run this race in Thunder Bay. We're getting the support out there. If you guys want to fly pigeons, you want to keep this sport growing, let's support the races. That's all I'm going to say today on that one. $15 a ring.
So that's 4 races.
I also want to mention we have loft manager Richard, who has offered up his loft and to be a handler. We also have Troy Spencer, who has offered up his loft, as well as he will breed for people if they are interested. Anybody else, Ryan, has offered up their loft? Because so far, I believe those are the only two who have volunteered.
Those are the only 2. The sport's going to grow if we can open up our lofts a little bit. Think outside that box. I've got Dorian in Montreal. He wants to buy 50 bands. He's going to give us 20 to fly. He says, Ryan, can you find someone to handle birds for me? Dorian, he's an excellent flyer. He wins money every year. He's won it at the Niagara. He's won it at the Salem. He's won it at the Trifecta. He's won it at the Pioneer. You know what I want to see? Local guys here start standing up and start taking some birds in, making some friends. Let's go. What are we afraid of? The perfect season? Perfect seasons don't exist. Growing the sport is the way to go.
And I think also by sitting back and waiting to see how many bands we sell, I mean, if everybody sits back and says, well, I'm going to see if they sell 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 bands, if we all have that same mindset, we're not going to sell any bands. So,
No,
you know,
it's a joke. Richard here, he's going to take maybe 100, maybe 150 birds in. One guy, he's taking people's birds in. He's supporting the race. We want to see it grow. Who wants to be a handler? Who wants to make the sport grow? And I've already said this enough times, and I say it again. You buy under 10 rings. If you can win this race with under 10 pigeons, you can do 4 races with under 10 pigeons. I will give you personally an extra $1,000 if you're the average speed winner. Because you need a little bit of an army.
Phil
to
is
do this.
saying, never sent birds up north. Might try it though. Do I need a forwarder? Phil, unfortunately, I cannot remember where you're from. I'm assuming from the US. If you want to send birds up from the US, we can definitely bring them across the border for you. That's what we do. We do quarantine, importing, and exporting as well. If that's where you're from, Phil, I think that's where you're from, but I can't remember. So just put in the comments where you're from, and we will absolutely help you out.
Yeah. We're looking to grow the sport. That's all we're trying to do. Grow the sport, make a fun band race. Give options. Give options.
Tim is asking, when are you starting to take the birds? I'm assuming he's asking for the band race, so I will ask Richard since he's the handler. When did you want to start accepting your banded birds, Richard?
I would say as soon as possible, and I'd like to get them when they're 42 days. What's that? 6 weeks old.
Yeah.
Would be better.
Yeah.
42 days.
What we're saying is put some age on them. You're always better to send youngsters with age. And age is good. It's experience.
Inoculate them before you send them.
Right.
Have them well weaned, eating on their own, drinking on their own. Like, don't send them when they're this age. These young ones you've seen here. These are the start. These sat nets they're accidents. I didn't plan. Bring that little cocker up here. He is just, I'm telling you, he's not a show pigeon, but he's healthy as hell. You guys seen this?
And again, this year you can wean it now, no problem. This year's too young.
Yeah, but I don't want you to send them this age.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? Send them to us when they're up on the top perch.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? When they're up on the top perch. In your section, they're up at the top perch. What does that mean by that point, pretty much? They're eating, they're drinking.
I want you to take them at this age, what you see. I want you to inoculate them for P&V salmonella. And then 2 weeks later, inoculate them again. And then, because right now, I can't let them out till the middle of April. But I'd like to have them so they're strong.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just going to get to the comments here. Phil is in Texas. No problem at all, Phil. We cross monthly. We go into Buffalo and we not only ship birds out, but also bring birds back in to Canada. So we're there once a month. There's no problem at all. If you just let us know, we can make the arrangements to pick them up at our shipping address and then bring them across the border with us. Tim Taylor says that he just banded his on Saturday.
Good job.
Good job. Exciting stuff. And Randy wants to know, so just curious, what does it cost to send them and have you guys race them from your loft? Okay, so Brian, maybe you explain the 2 different ways in which maybe Randy could get involved, the one loft route and then the band race, 2 separate races.
It's 2 separate races. The birds can do both. Our one loft race is the Pioneer One Loft race. We're taking in 200 young pigeons this year. That's all we're taking in. It's basically first come, first serve. You pay your perch fee, you pay the fees, and you're in. The price of that is $3.50 a pigeon. That covers everything, your entry fees and everything into the main series, which is a 9-race series. Now, if you say, hey, I want to put a bird into the Pioneer One Loft race and I want to put one of the Pioneer bands on, then it puts that bird not only in the one loft race, but in the band series. So it will compete in the band series. It doesn't have to fly any extra races. All the birds go up together. And those rings are $15. It's a one-time payment. The one loft race is a one-time payment. So you're looking at, what is it, $350 if you put a band on it. You want to put a band on it, you go into that other 60, what is it, 365.
No, that's for the one loft setup.
That's for the one loft setup. Now, if you want to just say, hey, I'm not going into the one loft setup, maybe it's out of my price range, I want to band 10 or 20 or 30 young birds and find handlers or have someone handle the birds for you, or you want to fly them if you're in the boundaries, the measurements, you can. Each ring is $15. And that gives you 4, roughly 300 to 350 mile races starting the first week of September to the last week of September. Every week, bang, 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 bang. We pay first, second, and third in each race. We pay the top 3 average speed lofts. We pay the top 3 champion birds, the birds that rack the most points up. And this is why I say, I believe people with under 10 birds, remember, you're asking the pigeons to give you 4 weeks at roughly 300 to 350 mile races, depending on where you live. From that spot, you're asking a lot of the young pigeons, and you may need more than 10. I think you're going to need more than 10.
Can I ask you, I'm going to ask you a question, just from the public, because I already know the answer.
Okay.
But if I want to go into the Pioneer Loft, which $300 for a bird, $350, and I want to put one of these bands on the Pioneer birds, okay, which is $15,
right,
to fly in those last 4 races, which are, let's say, 4 300-mile races, week after week. I'm going to say these. If you put these bands on a Pioneer bird, they're going to fly for 9 weeks.
They have to fly 5 weeks before that.
5 weeks before.
And
week after week.
That's 90 miles, 113 miles, 150 miles.
221.
221, 240, whatever. Yeah, they have to work. They have to work 9 weeks earlier.
Yeah,
or 5 weeks earlier.
And then they got to go to those last 4 races.
Right.
That's a tough challenge.
It's real tough. It's a super bird challenge.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to do that and you just want to put the $15 band on and you would like a handler to handle your birds, like Richard is going to be a handler for this band race, then you are going to split all winnings if Richard wins with your bird. You're going to split those prize winnings 50-50. So you, the breeder, are going to keep 50%. And then Richard, the handler, because he is doing the feeding and the training and the caring and etc. throughout the season, will also receive 50% of that prize money. Whereas if you win in the Pioneer Loft for the one loft race, you're entitled to all the winnings because we take what we call a perch fee, which that is the price for Ryan to feed and care and train for the pigeons.
That's right.
That's right. 100%.
Okay, so
if I'm a handler, I'm not trying to sell myself.
I know. So let's not even get into that. Let's just keep moving with the show. That's another story. Keep rolling.
Neil's asking, the 2 Mont Laurier races, are they in conjunction with another combine?
Nope.
No.
They're the only 2 races that are in conjunction with the combine, I believe, is the Englehart, which is either the Up North Combine or the North Road. And I know the Matheson, I think all the trailers are going to be there, so that'll be a big mass release there. So 2 will be with combines, and 2 will be with just the band, the Pioneer group. The Pioneer group. So the Pioneer Club, the Pioneer One Loft Race, and the Pioneer Banded Pigeons.
Cam is asking for the Pioneer Youngbird Invitational, which is the one loft race. The first group is up to March 14th. Are you open to 2 weeks after or wait until the May time frame? So Ryan, you're in charge of the one loft race. What's your feeling on extending that for a 2-week period, or do you just want to do the 1 week, cut it off, and then re-accept in May?
listen, if it's close, if it's real close, fine. There's no harm, Cam, in keeping those birds till May. It's okay. They're going to get stronger. Nothing's bad's going to happen. They can look out the window. There's no problem. Then go into your aviary. There's no problem. What have I learned with pigeons? Smart pigeons, real smart pigeons, they figure out the problems quick. They learn their new homes quick. And away to the races you go. So you don't have to worry. I prefer, if they're not ready in that time frame, it's okay. Keep them at your place. Let them develop a little more. It gives you an opportunity to look at that youngster developing. And you know what you say? You know, I was going to send 1642. You know what? Good thing I didn't send him. He doesn't look as smart. This other one I wasn't going to send, boy, he looks a little smarter. He's a little more spunky. I call them in. They come through the aviary. Boom, boom, boom. They come in. He's always the first one. The other one's lazy. He doesn't look right. Take your time.
Yeah, and we certainly don't want people to get hung up on those dates and feel like there's no way that I can get my birds either A, ready in time, or they start panicking that they're not going to have the youngsters ready, they're not going to be able to enter the race. This is not why we put these dates. We have to put some kind of guidelines so we just don't have people willy-nilly, for 2 months starting from March until, let's say, end of May, start just dropping birds off whenever they want. That is why we kind of put 2 separate collection dates to just kind of keep everything under control.
Right? I look at it this way. If I was going to be able to fly in the Pioneer One Loft race, I am not allowed to. If I was flying in this race,
if your name was
Gary
Joe
Smith, Gary
okay.
Smith, whatever, I would bring my youngsters to this race on the May collection. I'm not worried about replacements. If I can't do it on the first shot, it isn't my year. I never worry about replacing pigeons. I like to send them at a good strong age when they're mature. When I see them, I know, hey, I got strong horses and that's what I'm going to bet with. I'm not looking for the replacement, and we put it down as bring your birds the week of March 7th or whatever. What's that week, Leah? The first accepting week?
Yeah, I think it's March 7th to 9th or 7th to, I got to look it up myself.
7th to 14th, whatever it is.
Yeah, 7th to 14th, whatever it is, yeah.
I wouldn't rush to get into that. It's okay. Take your time. Let the young birds develop in your loft. No problems with that. People said last year, I remember people knocked Dave Ottaway. He sent young pigeons. They were out. He had them out, up and down. They were out flying
in his own loft.
Brought them here. We broke all 4 of them. Hold on. I'm just saying it as it is. He won money in the races. He had a pigeon finish all 9 races. It's okay. Take your time. Don't worry if they look out the window. Don't worry if they go in the aviary. Don't worry if you let them out for a week. It's okay. They're not stupid. We are going to break them. That's our job.
Yeah. Owen is asking a question which goes along the same lines, Ryan, as what you're talking about. He wants to know, and please remember that Owen is a new flyer, and he's 14 years old.
We need more of them.
We need more of Owen. So Owen is asking, how will it work if you want to put a band on the one in the one loft race? He's asking, won't it go to the loft it's been trained at, or will it break that quickly and go to Richard's loft, or can you just pick it up and put it in the clocker, which is very cute. A very cute question. But no, for people who don't know, yeah, it seems like, wouldn't the birds fly back to where they were from, or won't they get confused and end up in Richard's loft or somebody else's loft? Ryan, explain, please.
If you band birds for the Pioneer One Loft and you use these Pioneer bands, I am going to receive the birds. I will handle the birds for the Pioneer One Loft, and those birds that have those bands, they're entered into both races. I handle them myself. They don't go to Richard's loft. They don't go to anyone else's. I am the handler for you. You are getting 2 races in one. The only difference is the birds with those Pioneer bands, they have to, because they're entered into the Pioneer One Loft, they have to do 5 weeks extra work before, because they're flying in 2 series, which makes it a little more tasking. They're a little bit more Worked. No problems though. Because you know why? I still think I'm going to win the whole thing.
I'm saying I have to regulate the athlete.
You're going to regulate the athlete, and I have to do it with what we're doing here as a Pioneer One.
So Dave Crozier is asking if we're creating drag, and I'm not sure if that's with regards to letting our bird, or not our birds, but Pioneer birds up with other combines. If we are creating drag now,
I'm gonna make a good statement here for Dave.
And this
I don't know if he was watching our show this morning with Garrick and
Leandra Munich.
Leandra Munich from Holland, and creating drag. I will have to laugh at that statement because those people were flying against 3,000, 5,000, 15,000
pigeons,
20,000 pigeons in Holland. And if you're worried about drag, that's a laugh.
It's funny. We're getting off the topic here.
We're getting off topic.
But in Europe, we never hear the words drag. Are we creating a drag? I'm here to create pigeon racing. Richard, you may take 150 birds for the one loft race. I'm gonna or for your band race, you're gonna be a handler. I'm going to be taking in 200 birds. There could be 300 birds coming to 2651 Bloomington Road.
And is that
the doors? Hold on. The doors are open for everyone. Get involved. Get started. There's no drag. The good pigeons, they lead the way, and that's the bottom line. The wind helps here and there, but the good pigeons are the good pigeons, and the men that take those pigeons and tune them up to the max of their ability will be at the top. That's it. Forget drag. I'm done with drag. I'm not talking about drag because you know what? Drag is for those who find a way to lose races.
Tim is asking if the Pioneer race is full. It is almost full. It is very close to being full. I have to go through all of the entries and see how far away we are from being full. I know the junior category is pretty much full. There might be a couple spots left, but it is absolutely filling up, if not completely full. I don't think it's completely full yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we'll have to go through it. Maybe we'll go through it, take a look at this week, and then we'll get that sorted out.
I am going to just tell everybody that the receiving dates for the one loft race again, just so there's no confusion. Let me pull it up on my phone. While I'm pulling it up on the phone, Ryan, if you wanted to say something while I get it, then go ahead.
I want to say something.
Okay, Doug, go ahead.
People that may be banning their birds now. So we got, what do we got now? So we've got February, March. They're going to be 2 months old. If you can bring them at the end of March, it's good.
For you.
Or not, keep them, get them stronger, but get them a little bit of stress. In other words, make sure you teach them how to drink out of a drinker like this. Make sure you teach them how to drink or eat in the basket out of a feeder. Make sure you put them in a basket. Take them for a ride in the car. Go for a little ride around the block. Take them for 3 hours in your car and bring them back home. Get them used to stress. Very important, stress. Don't keep them like little babies. Like
they're not gold.
Right. They're not gold. Teach them to have stress. Put them in a basket overnight in the garage. Don't leave them outside. The raccoons will eat them. But maybe don't feed them for a day in the basket. Let them learn stress. And you'll see when that stress comes out, they're going to either live, survive,
or show you stress.
Yeah.
And the ones that you see, and I'm going to cut you off here, the ones that show you the stress, they're showing you their weaknesses, not those weaknesses you see in that little bit of stress. That's at 300 miles when those birds don't come home. Leah, you had something you were going to say.
I hate to say it.
I'm going to say that we are accepting for the one loft the first group that we are accepting for the young birds is March 5th to the 14th for the One Loft race. Then we have a second intake where either you can send your first set of birds, or if you need to send replacements, we are accepting May 7th to the 9th for replacements for the Young Bird Invitational. For the Old Bird Invitational, we are accepting pigeons June 4th to the 13th, and replacements July 9th to the 11th. We do ask the youngsters are a minimum of 50 days old. If there is a problem with that, please contact Ryan, 416-990-0187. If you've got any issues getting the birds to us, or you're not sure if they're ready, or you have any questions at all, we are here to help, guys. We're not here to make this harder on anybody or make it more complicated. We are here to help. Any questions you have, do not feel shy. Please let us know. We're here to help. Somebody is asking about the juniors. Randy is asking, how many juniors do you have? We opened it up to 25 juniors. The junior price is $125 per pigeon. $25 goes to Ryan, the handler, and $100 goes for prize money. The juniors can only compete for the junior prize money. Okay, so if we get 25 juniors, you guys are flying for $2,500, right, Ryan? Not the entire Pioneer, the big pot.
Not the big pot.
Now, can I ask a question here? I'm just going to ask, I know the answer, but an outsider would have to say, what is classed a junior? Could that be someone that's under 80?
Can I answer? A junior, if you had pigeons if you had pigeons 2 years and you're 65 years old, you just got into the sport, you're a junior.
That's right. A junior
if you've been racing 4, 5, 6 years, you're not a junior anymore. You're moving up slowly, and that's where junior is. It's not kids.
No,
it's anybody.
I know a lot of flyers who are more experienced flyers. They are trying to get perhaps their children or their grandchildren or their nieces or their nephews or maybe a friend down the street involved in this, and they are using those junior spots for that. So to get new people involved, and it's also for newcomers that maybe aren't sure if one lofting is their cup of tea. So you don't have to spend the entire $350. You spend $125 and you see if you like it.
Yeah. So what you're saying is an experienced flyer.
Somebody that had bird 30 years can't be in the junior.
Can't be. But if he has a son or a grandson,
yes, he can.
He can put them in as a junior flyer and get them involved in watching.
That's right.
Yeah, so no, by junior, we don't mean a 5-year-old, and we don't mean a 35-year-old or a 65-year-old. It's anybody who is just a little less experienced than somebody who's been flying 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's a little taster for somebody who might want to get into this. It's a way to open up the sport. It has nothing to do with age. It has to do with experience. Right?
That's right.
Are we going to ask some questions?
Okay, so I think we are going to wrap this up. If you guys have any questions regarding any of the One Loft racing or the band racing, you can shoot us a message, PM on Facebook. Send us an email, feathersleet@gmail.com, or call Ryan, 416-990-0187. He loves talking about One Loft racing.
Okay, so Ryan is going to give me a vaccination.
Leah, we're going to do that on the next show. We're going to wrap this up.
We're going to talk about vaccinating on the next show. Ricky again, he'll be at Yuck Yucks once COVID ends. You guys have been a great audience. Ricky,
Phil, wait a minute. Phil has a good idea. How about taking donation birds for a new kid to race? We will take donation birds. You want to sponsor a kid? We will take sponsorship. I know that, not a kid. I'm not going to say kid. A junior flyer. I know that the Niagara, North Roads? Is that what it's called, Ryan?
The Niagara Club.
The Niagara Club is sponsoring Owen and paying for his $125 entry into the junior program, which is well done.
Very nice. I'm going to clap my hands. I think
well
that's
done
very nice.
To the Niagara Club for that. So, hey, any of you other clubs out there that are in the Greater Toronto area, you know, there's many of you out there. This is a great way to help to promote the sport. Why don't you sponsor a junior member to participate in this one loft race? That's a great way, right?
I want to say one thing. I feel so good that I gave Owen a grizzle cock last summer, and he put that cock to his, I think it was his uncle's
Cousins.
bird, from cousin from Aurelia, and he showed us a picture of the first two youngsters in the nest, and I really feel proud about that. And I got a feeling when he showed the picture, I could see the cock in the nest and the hen. And they're like two little golf balls. You could drop them on the floor, they'll bounce right up in your hand. And I feel very proud of that.
Good job.
I think Owen's going to do good.
Good job.
With that.
There we go. So this has been an hour and a half of Pigeon Fun. We want to thank you guys for all your participation, your comments, your questions. If I didn't get to all your comments and questions, I do apologize. I'm only one person here manning the show. But we will be back either sometime this week or again next Sunday. But we will make a post and let you know when we will be live. If you haven't done so already, please head on over to feathersleeppigeonauctions.com. Check out the two fantastic auctions that we have online right now from Geert and Leander Munich from the Netherlands, as well as Derek Walsh from Ireland. Some really phenomenal birds over there. Check them out, folks. That's going to be it from me.
Leah, if I could say one thing.
You close her down.
I'm sorry to hear that this show is over tonight. I could be here for another hour or 2 hours with you folks. I really enjoy it.
All right, Ricky, you've done good. Are you done? Do you want to say one more thing, or are you done?
I didn't finish off about the lemons.
No?
And the garlic.
Okay, here we go. You guys, Leah, you're a great producer. Ricky, I'm pulling my hair out. Owen, you're doing good. Everyone, thanks for the tips, the talking, the stinging nettle tea. Everything's great. We're moving up in our knowledge, which is great. This is a good place, a fun place. We thank you for all your support. Thanks for flying with us, guys. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Bye for now.